is a game called Foxhole, which I understand not a lot of people have heard about this game, but people should hear about this game.
Hmm.
It's basically a World War MMO. It's there's two fictional states, and a world war is about to break out between them, and you just play as a single soldier in that war. It's from a sort of top-down perspective, similar sort of camera controls to maybe a World of Warcraft or a Diablo. But what makes this game special is the incredible amount of teamwork, camaraderie, and involvement that is required to progress a war. We're currently on War 119, I think,
Wow.
and it takes place in real time. So when a war starts, it's you have really basic technology like a bolt action rifle, some grenades. You don't even have enough bandages to go around. But all of the weaponry, all of the technology, every bullet, every gun, every vehicle is made by a player. And that's not
Wow.
just making a vehicle. Someone had to go and mine the in-game raw materials for that. They then had to go and refine those materials. Those refined materials have to then go to a bullet factory. Then those bullets, someone needs to drive crates of them to the front line so soldiers can pick some up and shoot them. So every single element has real human beings, blood, sweat, and tears in
Yeah.
it. And there are people that take this really seriously, both the technology side of it, the logistical side of it, of delivering supplies, being a medic, being a soldier. There are huge clans that collaborate to do these massive invasions on different cells. But it's so I've really not found a game this rewarding long term.
Wow.
You know, you'll play a war for months. They can last ages, and they start with the basic technology. By the end of it, you've got assault rifles, machine guns, tanks, submarines, and you feel the change all through
Wow.
it. But every inch of land is a bit of land that you and other players have taken. I've had moments where I've played on a weekend and we've taken a sector of the map. We've dug trenches by hand so we can create a bastion there, held it off against enemy waves for hours, pushed vehicles up, repaired our base, and people get really into it in terms of the role play as well, which makes it even better. Like if somebody gets wounded, they'll be screaming for mama until someone like throws them over the shoulder, runs them back to the base, plops them in front of a medic, and gets healed. We'll be fighting tooth and nail for that. And then the next day, I'll log on, and the base is gone, and it will genuinely
Ah.
be heartbreaking, just because the enemy forces have found intel to zone in their artillery and just smash our base down. And you're like,
Wow.
all that work, but then it'll be the ebb and flow. You'll get a bunch of people together. You'll build like an armored column of tanks. You'll have people behind enemy lines laying traps and blowing up bases and destroying fortifications, and you'll just overwhelm the enemy, and it will feel so rewarding. Like people will you'll finish that skirmish and be like, there's no enemies left, we've done it, and people will be like, hey, well done, good job everyone, and commending each other. And it's insane. Like I've
Huh.
played this game for 200 hours, and I think I'm like
Wow.
okay at it, and I know about half of it because there's so many levels to it. But it's bananas, and I recommend it to anyone who likes MMOs, who likes strategy games, who likes shooters. It's such a weird amalgamation of those things, but it works way more than even the sum of their parts. It's insane.
It's called Foxhole. I'm
Foxhole.
looking at it on Steam. This is not a game I was aware of. It came out in 2022, at the end of 2022. Um, and as you were describing it, I had an image in my head that's not what the game is. This is a isometric perspective game.
Yeah.
So I was not in thinking that, but wild that it's called Foxhole Persistent World Warfare.
Yeah.
What brings about the end of a war?
So you'll start with there's a site called Foxhole Stats, so you'll be
Okay.
able to see from there the current state of this war.
Okay.
You start with the same number of sectors as each other, and the first one to 31 sectors wins. That is counted as
Huh.
overwhelming victory. You've taken
Okay.
all the land that you can. You've surrounded the enemy. They have to capitulate, and that will end a war. Um, by the end of a war, you've usually got like atomic weapons and super heavy artillery
Wow.
that's shooting from like you have to go through loading screens if you want to go to different front lines. So each one will be like a sector of the server. So if you want to go from one area to another, there'll be a loading screen. But these guns are so big they can shoot through loading
Shoot through a
screens.
loading screen. I love it.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
But that will usually end a war, or an update will come. Like the previous war ended because a new infantry update came that changed the way infantry fighting works, which is why so many people, including myself, has returned to the game. But it will be a conquest. But there's been insane comebacks. It's crazy. It can change so much based on the
Wow.
player's perspective and how enthused they are. Like morale is a thing.
Yeah.
If one team feels like they're getting steamrolled, they'll just bow out and be like, okay, you win, and all their land will get overtaken. My team, I play as the Colonials, the guys in green. The Wardens are the guys in blue. Um, Sometimes you get too cocky and you think, hey, we're going to win this war. I don't need to play the rest of it. And then someone on the other side will be like, right, now's our chance for the counterattack. And you lose. Big streamers have come to the game and created an influx of players on one team because they want to be on the same team as their favorite streamer.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh God, the enemies have just got a crazy amount of reinforcements and now we can't hold back the tide.
Crazy.
But it can last weeks. And we've had some
Wild.
very long wars when people, when morale is good and people want to keep playing, they'll keep fighting. But there's even like a propaganda machine outside of the game. It's wild. People on the Reddit will be spreading lies and making like propaganda posters about themselves and the enemy to sort of demoralize them. People
Wow.
have infiltrated this is where it gets sort of outside of the spirit of the game. So you're not really supposed to create an alt account to look
Right.
at the enemy's intel and then report it back. Just not in the spirit of things. It's not gentlemanly warfare.
Right.
But people have taken it really seriously and infiltrated a Discord server and been like, oh, now I know. Like there's spies. People have become spies out of this. I don't agree with it, but it's crazy that can happen.
Wild. What a cool thing. Christian, it occurs to me that this could make for a pretty darn good feeling this topic. I think there's a through line here from what we're talking about with WoW Classic to this, where it's kind of like what friend of the show, my friend Dan Trachtenberg used to call the good suck, where there's things that suck. It sucks to have to make every single bullet. It sucks to have to you pick up an axe and you have no skill with it. But there's something good about that as well. There's something that people are drawn to in an era where many video games strip away those friction points and make things so easy. Just press X to mourn, whatever it is, press just a single button, or we'll take care of this for you, or don't worry, you have infinite inventory, or whatever it is. All these friction points that are frustrating to me and lots of other gamers. There is some draw to, we're going to make it cumbersome. We're going to make it almost frustrating. We're going to make it take a long time to do things. And there's something satisfying about that.
Yeah, it's the video game equivalent of showing grit, and I feel like, again, mobile games kind of popularized the opposite of that, the constant dopamine release. Like, go ahead and, well, thanks for downloading the game. Here's 100, coins, and you're like, yay, and I click continue.
And they're going to explode out of this beautiful pinata that's going to make you feel great.
And now you just got to tap here. What did that do? You don't know, but you get more coins, and like this kind of constant leveling up. Fortnite is very much that. Like you found the options menu. Congratulations. Here's some coins. And I think that it's hard to do well, but I do think people, even in the virtual space, enjoy putting in a hard day's work, or like going out there and shooting, not leaving the basketball court until you make 10 free throws. And I think folks are seeing more and more of that in gaming. And I think we're seeing that become more popular in gaming as well. And I think that's kind of where FromSoft achieved a lot of their success was doing the opposite of,
Yeah.
you found an axe, way to go. FromSoft is like, you found an axe, you're probably going to die with it because you don't know how to use it, you know?
Yeah.
And so I think we're seeing the rise of that, and Foxhole very much seems like a version of that, you know, with this persistent player base working together, seems like a lot of fun. Right now, according to Steam database, there's over 7,000 folks in game. And you have that type of critical mass and momentum maintaining this type of thing. That's super exciting. Now, the bad suck is, as Mike mentioned, going to bed and waking up and your base being gone. But I do think we are seeing the pendulum swing back to this a little bit of not just dopamine releasing your way through an experience, but actually, dare I say, working for it.
And I think the thing that's magic about this is the cooperative nature of it, right, Dave? It sounds like that's really the magic, is like we all, in order to accomplish anything, we all have to play a small part. I can't be the lone hero who saves the world. It's going to take everybody coordinating, right?
Yeah, you definitely feel like a small cog in the war machine, which is also cool because being the hero sometimes does also kind of get old.
Yeah.
And it speaks to a thing that Yahtzee Croshaw from Second Wind did a video on this recently called The Rise of the Dad Game, where it is, you know, Euro Truck Simulator or a game like Squad.
Power Wash Simulator.
Yeah. A game like Squad where you're driving, again, the logistics to the front lines of a battle, and your effect on things, it is a work. It is a task rather than, you know, an objective, like something more exciting.
Yeah.
But it still comes with a reward. You feel like you're helping. You feel like you are part of that like greater effort. And in games like Squad and in Foxhole especially, it's really rewarding to play as a new player, which when games can be quite complicated and complex and deep, is a hard balance to get right. But when you're a new player, the community around this game, because this game demands a community, is so open to new players. And you know, you mentioned the 7,000 players at the minute. Usually I think it's about 2,000, but they're dedicated and they know they are. It feels like most of the people, I don't want to say all, because you can still meet some, you know, bad eggs, but most of them consider themselves like a tiny ambassador for Foxhole, because they know the first person's interaction with another player in a game like Foxhole especially, can make or break the game for them. I was lucky. I started playing, and the first person who I spoke to was like, "Oh yeah, this is how you get a gun out of the barracks. This is how you get ammo. This is how much ammo you should take. Don't take those supplies. Listen to this sort of person. Avoid this. This is what you should look out for." And that put me on the right foot forward to playing the rest of the game. And I've had nice moments now where I've had, because you gain ranks in the game based on the commendations you get from other players. There's not an XP bar.
Wow.
There's not an
That's
experience
cool.
system. If you want to rank up from private to corporal to sergeant, all the way up to field marshal, which takes years, someone has to click on you and click commend this player, because they've seen you and recognized you for doing something cool, for doing something helpful.
Yeah.
So
it's awesome.
The status that people have in that game is actually earned. There's majors that have got that rank because they've been a medic, and people have actively done the inputs to say, thank you for healing me, thank you for patching up my wounds, I'm going to go and do some more fighting. So when I've stepped up to be like, oh hey, private this, private that, corporal this, you should follow me, I'm going to take a flank, I'm going to show you what to do, we're going to take this gun, we're going to put it in this position, I need you to carry this tripod, I'm going to carry this machine gun, you two need to carry some bullets and keep us covered. We get to a trench, build this machine gun, and all four of us are there defending our little position. I know that they're going to listen to me because it's coming from a voice of experience, and I feel like I'm sort of experienced because dozens of people have said so by clicking my name. So it's such
awesome.
a great community. It's such a great game, and I'd love for more people to play it because there's nothing else like it. And I believe that the team or an adjacent one is working on a similar game in the sort of a medieval version.
Oh,
as well.
Fun!
So imagine, everything I've said, but you're with a friend
Catapults
holding a shield wall,
yeah,
or reloading a catapult. That's another thing you do in Foxhole. Artillery, every round needs to be put into the gun. And if you want to shoot fast, someone else has to be the ammo carrier.
Wow.
You know, but you get to, in a medieval version, you can see how building a castle or a fortification or a shield wall can work. But I couldn't recommend this game highly enough. And it came out into 1.0 in 2022, but I consistently go back to it. So that's been what I've been playing a lot of recently.